Alright guys, so in this one we're going to be looking at all the map changes. I just recorded a video on the potential updates for 1.22. This is all on the super test right now, the common test server, and we discussed all this. I didn't go into detail on anything. You can see everything for yourselves here. Just look up Watt patch 1.22. That's what I did. It's like the first two little links that you get on Google, and you can come right here and you can watch this video. But what I wanted to talk to you guys about is the map changes. We're going to scroll down, just take a quick look at the vehicles here. You can see they talk about the all these new wheeled mediums, the new season of Onslaught, Battle Pass, changes to vehicles. You can see them all here. It's not even just the high tiers, it's a lot of other tiers, guys. You know, they're buffing, it looks like, that whole British heavy line, the Turtle. They're buffing the FE4202, the STRV81, Centurion, you know, T25 Pilot, AMX65T, VK45. There's tons of them here, T69. And I know they're nerfing the 279E and also the T95 Chieftain. So that should be pretty good. I think these two definitely needed a nerf, but let's take a look at the map changes, guys. I'm actually going to zoom like way in. We'll take a look at this, and then we can also expand the images. So Mountain Pass is the biggest one, right? I'm going to scroll down just quickly. You can read this. 3 more locations, Muravanka Cliff and Live Oaks, have undergone medium scale changes, and to the final 3, Lakeville and Siegfried Line, were given minor tweaks. Learn about every single change to the locations in our special article and prepare to examine the reworked battlefields personally. So I'm just going to go over these 4 main maps: Mountain Pass, Studz, Fisherman's Bay, and Oyster Bay. And we're going to take a look at Mountain Pass to start. So A1 and A2, vegetation has been added for players from the uppermost team. Easier to defend the base, I suppose. This north road is going to get a decent overhaul. So balconies and covers have been added to square E9 to allow for firing from medium and long distances. Pretty much the same thing from over here. And then you have this little area, collision zone for heavy tanks, has undergone a complete overhaul. Terrain has been changed. New covers have been created, and finally the play area has been expanded. So maybe a little more of a brawling area here, because a lot of people would just hug, you know, zones 3, like these 3 zones, I'll call them, and no one ever wanted to come out here. So it looks like they're going to update that a little bit. Square D4, rock has been added to block attacks along the bridge, so now this team can't get shots going down the bridge. In squares E6, E7, the bridge approach area has been redesigned for the lowermost team. So they're balancing that out. Good. Good job, Wargaming. My goodness, you're finally listening to the player base after years. The play area has been expanded and better positions have been added. And then the big one, guys, that I really want to cover is 7 and 6, okay? Because this was a huge imbalance. Team number, well, I don't know, this team over here, it looks like the red team in this picture. I was going to say like team number 1 and team number 2, but that wouldn't really make sense. But zone 7 was always the easier zone for scouting. I mean, you had such an advantage at this crossing to scout the enemy team, and now they're going to come out with this little area where it's like ridge lines, rocks, and bushes. So the shots aren't going to be as easy when you're trying to hit people that are crossing. And also it looks like it's balanced now to scout people from this spawn, the southeast spawn. I should have just mentioned the spawns, right? So northwest spawn always had an advantage here, guys. Like easy peasy advantage. Like you would just run up into this tree right here, which it looks like is still kind of there, but it's going to be different. But there was like that tree right here, and then there's a little bush out here, and you could just outspot everybody that came this way. And it was just like, it was kind of BS, man, because this southeast team didn't have the equivalent, and now they do. So I'm very happy with that. H6, H7, part of the mountain has been removed and cleared of vegetation to open a small chamber for those holding the... Okay, so they're gonna allow tank destroyers to probably sling shells from zone 1. The height of the hill has been reduced so that the lowermost team can take up anti-tank positions faster and more efficiently. Okay, and then zone 12, this F3, G3 area, it just looks like they're opening it up. Yeah, they're opening it up to make it more of a brawling zone, it looks like. H3, H4 is shifted toward the uppermost team and squares F3, G3. So yeah, this is just map balancing really right here and opening things up to make it more of a brawling zone. And then this, okay, E2 to G1, the play area has been expanded, so now you can actually push this line easier. I do like that. And then they also made a couple changes over here, guys. Well, we looked at that one, but zone 2, they added like another rock here. So they're trying to make it easier, I think, for teams to push in, because pushing this line and pushing this line were always really, really complicated and challenging. So that's Mountain Pass, guys. I think I discussed everything I wanted to on this one, but zones 7 and zone 6, like these areas, this is what they had to change, man. This was the biggest thing, and it took them years to listen it took years for Wargaming to listen to the player base, but they finally listened, and they're going to balance this out. And we're just gonna have to wait and see what the changes look like in person, right, in the actual game. So let's take a look at Studz, guys. Zone 1, this is the big one. The factory area is going to be expanded, and it's going to allow you to be able to side scrape and brawl easier in this zone. It's not just going to be the one little pathway anymore. So that's cool. A hill has been added in square D8 as an intermediate cover to be used when retreating from the factory part of the map. So if you want to, now run away from the factory, you kind of can. This isn't any type of big hill, but at least it provides you some protection to get away. They lowered this. I saw this. The pit and squares E5, E6 has been deepened. So you can now hide from people that are going to be shooting you here, because before you could dive in here and people would hit you from like this area. But because now this has turned into even more of a brawling zone, yeah, man, like they should definitely make this deeper in my opinion. So I think that's good. Zone 7, for balance improvement, an indestructible house has been added to square E0. There was an indestructible house over here, right? I think, yeah. So that makes sense. So they're balancing that out. A few houses have been added to the central ravine. I also saw this. So now you have, it looks like, 2 extra houses here. Because I think it was just these 2 before, right? And you had like, yeah, because on the edge here were the bushes. So now you have a couple of extra houses here for more protection. I think that makes this part of the map even more important, honestly. But it doesn't change the fact that light tanks are still going to want to sit here and here, so it doesn't change much for me. But I kind of like this. I think it'll help with, getting people to take the ridgeline. Like, the ridgeline becomes even more vital now. I don't know. But that's my opinion on it. And then let's look at Zone 5. So this is huge, guys. This is a big one, and I saw this as well. Like, I've watched all these changes in the videos, and I've been looking up other videos myself of other people, like, commenting on the maps, right? But this is going to be huge because this is going to open up a huge brawling sector so that people don't have to keep poking up on the ridge and it becomes a stalemate, right? So I actually like this idea as well. I think Wargaming's doing a really good job, man. They're adding a lot of good stuff into these maps, I think, personally. Like, I think these are all good things. And then Zone 6, they're actually removing vegetation from out here in both these areas so that you can't camp as easily out here in tank destroyers, I suppose. So it makes it easier for you to push this line. But I really like this, guys, because this easily became a stalemate out here. It was so hard to push the south before. If you had a good light tank player, you might be able to get away with it. But yeah, it was really challenging, man, to push this because the ridgeline was so like narrow, this ditch. So they're going to expand it way out. And I think that's a good idea, man. I don't know about these. I still don't know about these extra couple buildings here. Like, I guess it's a good thing. I don't think it's changing all that much. It just allows people to kind of use this area of the map a little. It's a little easier, right, for people, I think, to use this area of the map and maybe counter like tank destroyers that are sitting in these bush lines here. But yeah, it looks like that's about it. They didn't change the north at all on this map. I feel like the north is fairly balanced. So we'll see how that goes. So that's Studz, guys. Fisherman's Bay. We'll start back here. The path to the city has become safer. I think they needed to do this. I used to love coming up to this corner and smacking heavies that go this way, but it wasn't balanced because it wasn't really the same. Like, you didn't have the equivalent shots going over here because there's already like a rock and like a building here and stuff. Like, I don't know, it just wasn't the same. It was much easier to get shots going south to north than north to south. So they balanced that for the heavies coming into the city, it looks like. Zone 2, the troublesome position for attacking the urban area has been removed. Okay, I see what they did here, I think. So they added a couple buildings here, is that right? Because I think one of these buildings wasn't here and it was easier to hit people through this corridor, perhaps. But I'm not 100% sure on that, but it looks like that's what they did. I haven't really paid attention to this area of the map. Let's see what they did in Zone 3. Vegetation has been added. Okay, yeah, I did see this. So these bushes have been thickened, right? And it looks like, almost looks like that's it. Maybe they added a thicker bush here as well. So just it's a better area to go now where you're I feel like you're a little more safe because of more foliage. So I don't think that's going to be a big change. A new position has been added to square K7, which gives more opportunities for attacks on the central part. It can also serve as an additional secure point for the uppermost team in the event of a breakthrough to the east. Okay, so they just changed this rock here? Is that what I'm seeing? Because there used to be a rock right in this corner, or that's the one over there. So they added another rock here? Interesting. Okay. I guess we'll see how that plays out. I don't really know how much of a difference that's going to make on the map overall, but we'll see. Anti-tank position in square B2 has been improved. Vegetation has been added while the location of the house has been changed. So did they just try to balance this a little bit better, I guess, for the tank destroyers? I'm not sure. I don't see too much of a change here, guys. They moved the one building a little bit, but we'll see about that as well. And then Zone 5, the tree in square D1 has been removed. In certain scenarios, it acted as a double bush when it fell. Okay, you remove the tree. Some of these are very minor changes, it looks like, on this map. I don't even remember there being a tree here, I don't think. But I guess there was a tree here. So they removed that, and yeah, those last few I don't think are going to be too much of a change, but this one they had to change, man. This was really unbalanced for the heavies coming in. But again, I only play lights guys, so maybe some of these other changes you're you know, you're noting, but for me, I don't see too much of a difference here. And this looks like it opened up. Some houses have been removed from squares H9, G9 to eliminate the blind spot when approaching the city and balance the time intervals for the lowermost team. Okay, I understand. So they open this area up, and I think it makes it easier for South, right, to not get beaten to the city, right? Because I do feel like the North team always got here first usually, but then again, you had the shots going at them, so maybe it was balanced. Okay, let's take a look at Oyster Bay, guys. This is the final one. And wow, and this is a fairly new map. They're actually putting a lot of changes here. So Zone 6 and Zone 7, let's take a look at these first. Location of the ship's gun in square C4 has been adjusted. Now it does not block the firing position of the uppermost team's anti-tank vehicles. Okay, so they're balancing out the shots for tank destroyers, it looks like. A lot of these changes I have to see from different angles, guys. Like seeing it in just one picture, I'm not sure like if it's super informative, if you know what I mean. And then Zone 7. The bushes have been adjusted on the lowermost team's anti-tank position in square E2. Shooting at square B3 now requires moving out of the bushes, similar to the uppermost team's balcony. Yeah, I do remember that because there wasn't a bush line in one of these. Like this is bushy, this is not bushy. So, all right, makes sense. I guess balances it out. Zone 3, the path to the position for the uppermost team's light tanks has been streamlined. Yeah, because it was really open before. Previously, one had to drive through the water, which slowed down movement. Oh, okay, maybe it's something other than I thought. Because this area right here is really open. I thought maybe they lowered it down a little bit and made it easier to get into this bush, but I see what they kind of did here. So it's just more balanced, so you don't have to drive through the water. So that both light tanks should be getting there at the same time. The entrance to the balcony in the E7 square has been improved. Now it cannot be jumped on. Okay, I'm not sure about that. You guys probably know about that. I don't remember that. I think wasn't there a way to like climb up one of these or something like that? I don't know, man. Interesting. So that's changed for Zone 5. Zone 1 here, let's take a look. The upper subdirection on the flank of heavy tanks in square F7 has become more open to shooting from the main anti-tank positions. I remember they said, I watched this in the video, so they kind of like changed the angle of this a little bit just to balance it out, I think, for the tank destroyers. So that's fine. Read this. The passage in the F8 square in the direction for heavy tanks has been redesigned to provide more options for the attacks on the southern part of the map. Okay, so they're just balancing out this little ridge line with the like a bush line so that the south actually has something to... Oh, maybe it's because the south had it easier? I don't know about this, guys. I don't ever remember noting this that well, because you have the hill here and you have the hill here. So maybe this team had more of an advantage, and now they don't. Yeah. So I guess now it's balancing out this eastern and southern side of the map to make it easier for the like northeastern team, I suppose. All right, Zone 5. I think we looked at that. It was the same as Zone 1, right? Oh no, Zone 5 on both sides is the same. And then zone 4, the height of the mountains in squares H5 and G6 has been increased so that the lowermost team's SPGs cannot fire. Good, yes, because the heavies were getting freaking annihilated here, man. I do remember that being an issue, and I remember watching that in the video. So they made this a little higher, I think, so that you can't get the shots. Okay, that's good. I don't think they should make it any more than that. I mean, you still need Artie to hit the heavies, but I think it was a little unbalanced over there, right? So, okay, that's good. So for Fisherman's Bay and Oyster Bay, guys, there's quite a number of changes that I'm not really sure if they're going to make much of a difference for me in particular. I think they're more for other classes. But the big changes that I'm noticing are going to be on Studz, and definitely Mount Pass is way different. So that's all for the map changes, guys. Again, that's all we're really going to go over in this video. I, explained how I felt about some of these other features. I'm kind of in the minority with the auto flipping tanks. I'm going to show you guys why. Okay, I'm going to show you guys why I'm in the minority. This is why. Let me find this short. This is why I'm in the minority, guys. Okay, where did this rock come from? And do these physics make any sense to you? Oh, my connection's lagging, apparently. Like, what the heck is that, guys? You know what I mean? Like, this is why I'm in the minority, because this should not be happening. And can you imagine if I didn't flip back over like that and just ended up on my turret? You know how mad I would be from something like that? So that's why I am, in case you guys are wondering even further after my first video, this is why I actually like this feature. I just wish they would tweak it a little bit, because last but not least, let's talk about a problem everyone has experienced from different angles. When there's a helpless tank with its tracks up and you are subjected to an empathy test, if the effective vehicle isn't yours, it's widely known that tankers help each other out, but we still decided to make toppled vehicles flip back over by themselves. So if your vehicle is lying on its side or upside down, it cannot move. Fear not, it will be back on its tracks automatically after 15 seconds have passed, counted by a timer. This should be 30. I'm telling you guys, watch my last video, this should be 30, or just make the counter reset when you're near enemies. But if you're flipping over, like I just showed you on that short, this is why I like this, man, because that physics right there is just freaking some BS, man. So that's why I actually like this, and I also explained the WA Plus. I actually do like the WA Plus. I know some streamers don't, but we'll see how everything goes, guys. It looks like they are set on this, though. Because it says we still decided to, they already made that decision, so that's not even going to be part of the super test. That's already going into place. And that's all, guys. Again, you can check everything out here. I don't even know if I'm going to leave the links. Just Google yourselves Watt 1.22 update, and you will get all this. And that's all, guys. Hope it's informative. Hope you enjoyed. Catch you for the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.